My husband is a battalion chief, and this is not a joke. The guy pulled a gun on my family.
Prosecuted with extreme prejudice.
In the very least, this is shoddy police work.
I'm ABC15 Chief Investigator Dave Biskobing. We continue to investigate one man's fight to prove he acted in self-defense against a top official. His arrest was once one that police publicized in a press release. Now, after our story, they don't want to talk about it at all. But we discovered the police chief had plenty to say privately. In Prescott, the police department is run by Chief Amy Bonney.
Prescott Police Chief Amy Bonney has been named Arizona Chief of the Year. And Chief, I think you're back there. Congratulations.
You know, this community and the city is really what my heart beats for.
Chief Bonney won for her work in 2023. The same year, this happened.
Prescott Police Department, how can I help you? My husband is a battalion chief, and this is not a joke. The guy pulled a gun on my family.
The caller is the wife of Dustin Parra, a local deputy fire chief. The alleged suspect, Matt Masucci, a local construction worker. They claim Matt came out of a gas station and for some reason threatened them.
My husband jumped out of the car. We tried to calm the conversation. He just pulled a gun out on my family.
Everyone left before police got there. Then, acting only on the family's word, officials arrested Matt at gunpoint and charged him with 4 felonies.
One false move and every one of those guys is going to fire at you.
It would take 2 years and this grainy video to eventually show the fire chief, drunk after his brother's funeral, followed Matt and confronted him while Matt was inside his car. That's why Matt says he pulled a gun from his center console.
Prosecuted with extreme prejudice. Nobody did their due diligence. Nobody was interested in finding out the truth.
The day after our first story, Chief Bonney sent this email to the Prescott City Council and a lot of other top city officials. The email defends their department, their investigation, and said they were going to stay silent. I got this email and I was kind of surprised by what it said in its tone. These are Matt Masucci's defense attorneys. We interviewed them a couple months ago and just called them back to look at this email. I mean, if you had to describe this email in a word or phrase, I guess, what would it be?
Cover up.
Damage control.
Let's start with the quote, damage control. The chief began by saying, the reporter, that's me, is well known for conducting hit pieces. His article about a nearly 2-year-old case was riddled with inaccurate information, which has created some buzz. Soon, another headline will take its place.
That's not the way that they should be handling this type of a story. They should be trying to make it right rather than hoping that time will create a new controversy to allow them to not have to address this.
Now to why these attorneys say the email is a, quote, cover-up. It states any allegation of preferential treatment is false. Why? Chief Parra is not a family member and has no financial relationship to Detective Hanna.
It's clear as day that there is preferential treatment, even in the form of this email.
We're talking about Detective John Hanna, and we exposed that Chief Parra personally called Detective Hanna minutes after it happened, but then was apparently too upset and intoxicated to be interviewed later that night.
Clearly there's a relationship because somehow the chief has the personal cell number for a detective who ends up being assigned as the lead detective on the case.
The attorneys also say the email continues to treat Matt as if he's guilty, and it does not detail the false statements made by the Parra family.
The guy went out, grabbed a gun from his vehicle, and then came back to your husband and pointed it at his chest?
Correct. At his heart.
Records and interviews show the chief's family also claimed Matt walked around their vehicle while threatening them, and they said he had a gun in his waistband. None of that was true. Store video shows Matt had no gun on him, and he went straight to his car.
They left all that out. So it's kind of ironic that they're saying no preferential treatment was given here when this email itself, the whitewashing of her statement that night that proves that she was lying, is completely left out.
Another reason these lawyers call the email a cover-up is they say it misleads the council and other city leaders about self-defense laws.
I don't know what's on her mind. I would hate to think that she's trying to mislead anybody.
The email highlights, literally, just one statute about self-defense, saying it's not justified in response to verbal provocation alone. The problem, these attorneys say Chief Parra physically threatened and cornered Matt in his car. The chief even pushed his own son away, who was trying to stop him.
If somebody's trying to enter your vehicle, you're allowed under Arizona law to use deadly force in order to stop that intrusion. None of those statutes were discussed in this email. If the chief doesn't know that, frankly, that's scary.
And then there's the last line of the email.
Mr. Masucci has the right to remain silent, but would have been well served to explain his side of events when he was given the opportunity. What do you think about that?
He is arrested at gunpoint with many officers pointing many guns at him. He's taken into custody, and then an officer comes in or a detective comes in to interrogate him, and he says, you know what, I'd rather have my attorney present and not talk with you guys. I think Matthew did exactly the right thing.
These people are professional interrogators. They are trained to interrogate you, and not only are they allowed to lie to you, says all of the case law, they are trained to lie to you to try to get you to incriminate yourself. So this little closing line on the email here seems to be an attempt at trying to encourage the public to waive their right to remain silent. Don't do that.
Now, the chief declined to be interviewed, but a final thing about the chief's email and her allegation of hit pieces. Here's what it's been like to try to get answers from Prescott PD. For this story, we repeatedly reached out to Prescott for comment, starting 6 weeks before the story aired. Eventually, we showed up, getting the public information officer to finally answer some questions.
So now we've been reaching out for, a good month at least. What's taking so long? We've been really patient. So,
well, if I'm being honest, I mean,
yeah,
the detective on the case has been on vacation.
Okay, for a month?
For that, sometimes they do take it an extended period of time. Yes.
Okay.
So we checked that out too and pulled that detective schedule. The detective was only off a handful of days between when we first reached out and our visit. And as for this lieutenant, the public information officer, he was off the week after we first reached out, but was around most of the next 3.5 weeks. In fact, until we showed up in person, it doesn't seem Prescott had any plans to respond at all, because evidence logs show the public information officer didn't review any of the video in the case until the day we came to town. I'm investigator Dave Biscobing, ABC 15, Arizona.